Hello, welcome to Three Crows Runes. My name is Jen. Let's do some rune readings. Today we are doing readings about misunderstandings, miscommunications, etc., etc. Right now, even the astrologers are saying it. There's a lot going on that is like making communications weird, and also there's lots of crazy energies flying around. Not to be too woo-woo, but it's like just all the people feeling all the apprehensions. So there's a lot going on that is going to cause a lot of miscommunications and that kind of thing. So let's get some cards down on this. Let's get some runes down on this because we need all the help we can get. So we have 4 cards from the Wildwood Tarot. Card number 1, card number 2, card number 3, card number 4. I have the Amethyst runes because we need to be... I guess I probably should have used the... No, not should have, but I could have used the rose quartz runes, but I've been thinking about the amethyst runes for a while, so I think that's going to help us quite a bit. Feel into the cards. One or more of these is going to have a message for you about all the miscommunications and things that we are having at the moment. Hopefully this will get sorted out relatively soon, but we'll see what happens, and hopefully these readings will help us all. So I will put the timestamps in the description, and I will see you at the readings. Bye! Hello, card number 1, people. So let's get started by turning this card like so. And we have 8 of Arrows, which is struggle. 8 of Arrows, that's 8 of Wands. So no, 8 of Arrows is swords. Okay, so 8 of Swords. So yeah, in the Wildwood Tarot, it's struggle. So let's get some runes down. And yeah, there's a lot of that. We feel like we're embattled and, and all that. I have brought along my trusty... Yeah, it's the one where the person's blindfolded and there's just swords all around. So it's just feeling like, you know, you never know when the next barb is going to come, like the next jab, where the next sharp edge is. And it's just feeling like that lately, where you just feel like you have to walk so carefully because it's just, there are sharp edges everywhere. So let's get some runes down and see if we can get some clarity. I'm going to put down the entire reading and then we're going to see where that goes. Yeah, so things are not flowing forward the way we want them to. Yeah, time to... I'm gonna put the runes down first, then I'm going to read them. That's showing up okay? Oh, you know what, it's fine. That one doesn't even have a reversal, so it's all good. Oh, good, we're not far from a breakthrough, which, hooray, is good. And finally, all right, then we deal with what needs to be dealt with. Right, central issue for card number 1, people. We have Lagus reversed. Lagus is the rune of communicate. Oh, no, it isn't. That's Ansus. And Ansus is here, but I'll tell you where later. Lagus is the rune of water, and this has to do with emotion, intuition, and heart and flow. So 2 things. First of all, this is just indicating that things are not flowing. I mean, even in the card, in the picture, it's a frozen river, like a little frozen creek. So that's probably not flowing very well either. There's a lot in the way of it. So, but the other way I'm going to read this is unpleasant emotions, just like negative emotions all the time, or even just like numbing. Like some people are feeling numbness and some people are feeling negative emotions like that fill their whole body. But also just things are not flowing, and it's a problem because if you're always afraid that you're going to rub up against a sharp edge, then you're not going to be really willing to try to reach out and get things flowing, but then things don't flow. Leading up to this, we have Othala reversed. Othala is the rune of the home and the homeland. I mean, it's given the nature of the reading, I'm going to read this, a couple ways. Like usually I read it the 3 ways where it's the, letting go of things that no longer serve and stepping out of your comfort zone and finding home within. But because we're dealing with this situation, I'm kind of feeling like what you considered to be comfortable and solace and sanctuary has been a bit overturned lately. And so this leads us to a situation where things aren't flowing, there's negative emotions surging. What do we do about this? So what is going to help right away is we have Manas reversed. Manas is the rune of humanity and your part in it. All this kind of things going on, and you kind of feel like there's, you feel this lack of belonging, but this is when you really need to get, turn inward and find belonging within first, because there may be a situation where you're feeling at odds with yourself. and you need to make that reconnection with yourself. So sort of tune out the din of a lot of people, because a lot of people are just caught up in the energies that are around. They're just crazy energies. They're just like everybody's ready to scratch each other's eyes out right now. And so we just need to like tune that out to a certain extent and just get things calm within, get things, get your sense of belonging from alternate means. Just kind of like turn inward and say, okay, you know what, I'm here. That means I'm allowed to be here, and just basically work from there. Like get yourself comfortable with yourself kind of thing. Now, what isn't going to help is we have avas, which is through the horse. The horse is movement and also spirit. In the lower line, it's just basically, you're worried about movement forward. You're worried about how fast things are moving. And also just this sense of, things are escalating really quickly. And so, again, this is a perfect time to just remove yourself from that. Like if you see this happening, if you see things escalating and how quickly they escalate, just like, don't like if you have loved ones that this is happening with, like don't ghost them. Like don't just like, I'm leaving because that's abuse. But just basically say, okay, right now things are really hot and I want to just, let's just take a break, like step away for a little bit, let ourselves calm down a little bit. And even like refer it to yourself. Like, I'm just going to step away so I can communicate with you calmly. And then just like, I will be back. I just need to get that, get myself back to where I need to be. So that if things start to escalate, you can sort of say that, as gently as possible, especially if you're dealing with loved ones, because, we all still want to be loved ones at the end of all this because we love each other very much. So your next step on the path line is there is going to be, you are going to have success with that. Like you basically, this step is just really difficult, but you're going to get through to the next step where, okay, the efforts that you made at this step are going to pay off. We have Ira, which is the harvest rune. This also has to do with time. There is going to be a right time to work through these things, and it's not in this step, it's like the next step. So once you've done that, you've basically looked inward and you've gotten yourself to be in a better place, then you can sort of start to see the fruits of your labors, start to get that abundance back in, start to see the right time to do things. What's going to happen at that point is let your joy lead you, let your joy guide you. We have Vunyo, which is the rune of joy. So that's really going to be your focus. Just, bring yourself out to, focus on the joy. Let that help you, bring yourself through what you've just come through. What isn't going to help is we have Sovila, which is the sun. In the lower line, it's basically things are just too hot. Things are too, overheated. You may be worried about energy levels because this kind of thing is very draining, where you just like feel like you're walking, the whole walking on eggshells thing, but like just feeling like you're walking among sword edges and that's just exhausting. So you are worried about energy levels, especially since there was a lot of leaping to conclusions earlier on all the sides, and it's just really, again, if you are in an abusive situation, please don't, that's a different story. This is where it's just like regular people who you normally care about, and normally everybody cares about each other, and everybody is generally very compassionate and patient with each other, and right now things are just crazy, so everybody's on edge. So basically, yes, if there is an abusive situation, definitely don't be here, go where you need to be. But if it's just a regular situation and you're like, why is everybody on edge lately? Then this is basically the situation. It's like, we normally are okay. We just need to let ourselves ride this crazy energy out. And so, yeah. So once things start to be like, you're starting to see the results of giving yourself patience, giving other people patience, and doing that, then focus on the joy, get back together, get the abundance happening, and that's going to help. And don't worry about energy levels, because focusing on the joy is going to help you get out of that. Find just anything. Your next step on the path line, we have dagas, which is why I sighed with relief as I was throwing these down. It's like there will be a breakthrough shortly after this point. It's just basically 2 steps away from now. There is going to be a breakthrough. There will be full illumination. Things will become clear again. Things are going to be good. So it'll be much better very soon. So that's Dagaz, it's the breaking of the day. What is going to help you at that point is really hone your focus. Like just, it's going to, because it's going to be everything in your face. It's going to be like everything all at once is going to be visible at that point and understandable. So I'm not saying like shutter everything else out, but just basically the things that you need to focus on, that's when you're going to be able to do it, because you're going to have the big picture. So you can say, okay, now I have the big picture. I'm okay with that. Let's just take on the things that we need to take on. We have Kaunaz reversed. Kaunaz is the rune of the torch or the fire. Upright, it's expansion. Reversed, it's honing to a focus. So once things start to become really, really clear again, definitely take that in and then say, okay, now we're going to focus, because everything is clear now, and it's not going to be, there's not going to be the misunderstandings that we used to have not long ago. So what isn't going to help is we have Ansuz. This is the rune of communication, and this is on the lower line, and it's upright, so it's a worry, because we've just had all of this, that whole sense of just walking among like bare edges of swords. And so you're still worried about that. You're a bit traumatized by all of that. Traumatized. From like things where people are just jumping to rapid conclusions, where it's like exhausting, and then you're like, I'm still worried about this. Like I want to do this, and I know that it's okay now, but there's still that wariness. And if you let that take over, then it's going to drag you down. So if you have that wariness, bring yourself back up to, it's like, I'm going to just take this one point that we need to address, and we're going to deal with that. We're not dragging everything else in. We're not doing that abuse tactic where you're going to drag in things from like 30 years ago and say, and remember when you said this? It's like, no, we're just going to deal with this one thing, this one issue at a time, because we now have the big picture. So what ultimately this is all going to lead us to is a situation where we are going to very much more clearly see where needs need to be attended to. We have Amethyst, which is the rune of need. Basically, it'll be much clearer and it'll be much easier to deal with them. But you'll be able to see at that point, it's like, okay, clearly this needs to be addressed, this needs to be addressed, this needs to be addressed. And you'll be able to see those very clearly after this process. So that card number 1, people, is your reading for all the miscommunications and misunderstandings that are going on lately because of all the crazy energy. So I wish you all the best with this, and I wish all of us all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, card number 2, people. Welcome, welcome. Let's turn this card right away and see what we're dealing with miscommunications. So we have 3 of Vessels Joy, which is the 3 of Cups Joy, which is like the 3, usually the 3 ladies on the card with the thing. It's a party. So that's actually good, and it might be something that you kind of wish we could do, kind of thing. And maybe this is, I'm getting like gossip might be a situation that you might be dealing with as well. Like it might be just like, oh, everybody's getting together and everybody's in revels and, in whatever's in these cups. And then maybe, there's like things are getting a little bit too loose in terms of communication, and things are being spread that maybe shouldn't be. So maybe that's what you're dealing with. I don't want to say right away, look at this heart. Every once in a while I get this heart right into the frame. So it's a little cow spot. So to get back to what I'm doing, let's see what the runes have to say, because then maybe we can solidify what the 3 of Vessels is going to be about in this particular reading. So what do we need to know about miscommunications for the card number 2, people? Yeah, it's a lot at once. And so that's probably where things are going to start to get, yeah. It's very important to be mindful. That goes for all the time, but especially right now where things are crazy. Ooh, yeah, some good advice in this spread for all of us. Okay, that's the blank rune. Okay, all good. So it may well be that there will be settings where everybody's just like loosely in communication, just like, everybody's in a perhaps even flippant mood, or perhaps, just rowdy, and things are going to come out that either won't be presented in a way that is good, or that will come out and maybe shouldn't have been revealed even just at all, let alone in the way that it was, where it's just like lots of, parties and laughter and people just being flighty. Leading up to this, Daga's breaking of the day. So it's like everything all at once, full illumination, suddenly like everything in your face. Leading up to this, we have Yira, which is the rune of the harvest, and also time. So it looks like there's something that you're just basically letting off steam afterwards. There's something got completed. There's a sense of abundance. Everybody just wants to just like blow off all the steam. And so while doing this, something may be revealed or exposed that we don't want to have exposed. And even so, like maybe even something got sort of, like something was said that didn't mean what it got taken as, and then that blew up. So something like that. So what's going to help you? First of all, we have Pertho reversed. Pertho reversed. Pertho is the rune of the lot box. This has to do with surprises and fate. Whatever's in the lot box is something that was always in the lot box. So it's a surprise, but it's not something that's brand new. It's something that was always the case. So it's a surprise because you didn't realize or didn't acknowledge it before. Now in the upper line, Pertho reversed generally refers to a revelation about yourself. So it's inner. So look for what you're learning about yourself in this situation. So something like that, something comes out and you're like, oh, okay. So it shocks you a bit, but then you're like, okay, first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to step back and I'm going to think, what am I learning about myself with this? Like if it's something that got revealed about you and you didn't want it to be revealed, maybe ask yourself why. Like, why is this a problem? Like, maybe it's not. Maybe, these are your friends, like really friends. And, this comes out and then you're like, but you know what? These are my friends. I trust them. This wouldn't happen if it wasn't us. So, maybe this is something you need to address with yourself. But also, if you're the one who reveals what you shouldn't have, what does this say about you? And this is a learning experience now. Either way, self-reflection and seeing what you're learning about yourself that was always the case is definitely going to help in this moment, whether it is self-reflection and educational for your continuing improvement, or else it's, looking inward and going, why does this bother me? That kind of thing. Or just basically before you jump out and say, you said this, therefore, blah, 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 you can basically say, okay, well, maybe I can do some self-reflection. What isn't going to help is immediately jumping to the conclusion that immediately the misunderstanding moment. We have ounces reversed in the lower line. So this is basically, don't give them silent treatment. Don't do the immediately jumping to the conclusion of the worst possible assumption, because that's not going to help. Basically, these are things that are not going to help. Any sort of thing which leans on not clear communication is going to not help you in this moment. Definitely take that moment to reflect and look inward and look at what's being revealed to you. That's going to help the most. And once again, the central issue here is Dagas. So everything is being revealed. Like we're having the full illumination, full exposure. So there's not really any way to hide in this moment. It's full exposure. And so this could be, illuminating, or it can be embarrassing and mortifying. And so we're dealing with that. But in that is also the good parts of it, where things are being revealed. You are actually seeing, the motivations of others to a certain extent. Not by assumption, but like you're basically looking at them and these are people that you know. What this is going to lead to, and what's pinning the entire reading, is definitely, two things. Definitely, we have Amethyst reversed. Amethyst is the rune of need. It always means tend to your needs. When it's reversed, it usually means drop everything and tend to your needs. So again, as you would with anybody that you love, the second you realize something has gone wrong, you want to drop everything and address that. You don't want to let anything like this simmer or sit. You definitely want to, not let things fester. You want to immediately address it, apologize if necessary. Make sure that people know if they've hurt you, say, oh my gosh, I don't like the way that felt, especially if you're with people you trust. You know, you're people who love you and who trust you and who you trust and love. Definitely go, you know, I know that you probably didn't mean blah, 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 but it kind of felt like that. And I'm sorry, that kind of made my heart hurt a little bit, kind of thing. Or if you notice that happening, to immediately jump in with your apology and say, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you in this way. Maybe try to, obviously try to explain, but don't be like, I'm sorry, but don't ever do that. I'm sorry, but, because but undoes the apology. So just, I'm so sorry. I didn't, I'm sorry. That wasn't my intention. So, and then just listen, kind of thing. So, what is going to help you is we have Lagus reversed. Lagus is the rune of the water. It's emotion, intuition, and heart. Look inward and flow also. So being aware of the emotional situation is going to be very important, whether it's yours or others. Having that emotional awareness, looking inward, trusting intuition on things, because somebody could be just like giving you a smile, but underneath they're hurting. So if you pick up that there's a hurt that happened, then definitely jump in with the apology, address that emergency immediately. Seek your deep inner heart, listen with that. And also, let emotions, acknowledge your emotions, but try to surf them, like sort of stay on top of them and try to address things in a, as calm a fashion as possible. Allowing the emotions and acknowledging them, but at the same time, not identifying to them to the point where they take you over. And I know that's extremely difficult to do. What isn't going to help is feeling like you have no support. We have Algi's reversed. Algi's is the rune of the elk. Elk has to do with protection and support. It is reversed on the lower line. So it's worries about not having the support that you feel that you need to, worries about, being the one that steps up and takes this on yourself. And yes, you might have to, because other people might be dealing with whatever they're dealing with that caused this. So it's important, like this at this stage, whatever happened, it is an emergency and you need to deal with this. Now, the other way I'm going to read Nauthi's reversed is dealing with your inner needs. Definitely focus on your inner needs. And if you're not getting what you need, we need to just let things blow over. People will, if they do care about you and they do love you, you tell them what you need to tell them. But if they're not ready to address that, then give it a little bit of time. Like say, just, okay, I'm just letting you know. That might eventually work out, what they're going to be like, I didn't realize. Okay. But yeah, so if you feel like that is the case, bring yourself back up to where you're doing the best you can with just like surfing those emotions, like you acknowledge them, but you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to try to stay level-headed about this, and I'm going to immediately address what needs to be addressed. But I'm also going to, sort of trust my intuition, focus in the heart level, doing the best I can. This is a really tricky line. This whole thing is tricky. This whole situation, this time of the world is tricky, and everything that's going on is tricky. So everybody do your best, please. And I will try to do the same. Our next step on the path line, we have Tivaz reversed. Tivaz is Tears rune, Tears the warrior god, and reversed on the path line. I'm really seeing this as like, we're going to choose peace. We're going to lay down our swords. We're not going to fight. We are going to take care of what we need to take care of inwardly, because again, this is also inner needs. So look inside, pick up the whatever implement you need, and just take care of what needs to be taken care of inwardly, because that's what Tyr does, is take care of what needs to be taken care of. While you're doing that, what is going to help you is just start over, begin again. Whatever it was, every day is a new day. And so we have Berkana, which is the rune of beginnings and birth. Just, keep unfurling, keep unfolding, start fresh. Like, especially if you're dealing with people that you love and who love you and who trust you and who you trust. And just like, we're just going to sleep on this. We did the best we could in this moment, and then start a new day. We're just going to start fresh, keeping the love, basically keeping that in the heart. And just basically, and again, if you're dealing with an abusive situation, definitely don't be here. Go out and get what you need to get out of that. But if it's just, people that you really love and care for, this is the sort of thing we need to be doing. Just like start fresh, choose peace. What isn't going to help is we have the blank runes, so it's just fears about the unknown. You know, the fears of misunderstanding, fears about lack of support, and fears of the unknown. Like, what is going to happen that I don't know? Bring yourself back up to, it's like, yes, but we're starting fresh. What will this day bring? I'm going to take care of myself internally. I am going to choose peace, and we're going to move forward. And ultimately, what we have is Othala reversed. Othala is the home and the homeland. So this has to do with letting go of things that no longer serve you, finding a sense of home within, and also, you know, just basically stepping outside of any sort of comfort zone. Not any sort of comfort zone, but like moving outside of a comfort zone. I'm really seeing this as just basically letting go of something that maybe this was a grudge, or maybe this is sort of like resentment over what you've just been through, and just like you are going to be able to let go of that because, you know, we're all going through it. So at this point, this is how I'm reading it at this point, because ultimately this is where you want to be. You know, you want to get back to this where you're just having a good time with each other and really caring about each other and being joyful. Things happen. Make sure we address it immediately. And just remember how much you care about each other. And that is your reading for the Misunderstandings and Miscommunications session that I'm doing because of all the crazy energies. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish us all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, card number 3 people. Welcome, welcome. Let's get started right away because goodness knows we all need all the help we can get. 9 of Arrows, dedication, 9 of Swords, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so this calls it dedication, but the 9 of Swords is the one where you're being kept up at night from anxiety. So it does mean that you are dedicated to things in terms of that you actually care enough to worry. But at the same time, you know, maybe let some of those go. You know, it's important that we're caring. Like, it's really important. But, you know, it may be that level of rumination that is leading to the misunderstandings because, you know, if you're like, when they said it with this tone, you know, did they mean blah, blah, blah? Or when I said this, did they think I meant that? And it's just, you know, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So, you know, it's better just to, anyway, let's get some runes down. And see what they suggest for this situation, because overthinking, goodness knows and goodness knows I know, is just not ever going to help anybody for the most part. Yeah, so miscommunications, that's like the theme of the day. Things were going so well too because we Bunyo leading up to this. So let's get all the runes down and then I can do I'm going to read the whole thing. Yeah, so, because it doesn't necessarily mean, you know, no matter how much devotion you give it and how much time you give the thought to this, it doesn't mean that you could just be riffing. You could just be, you know, building a whole new world out of this misunderstanding that doesn't exist, which goodness knows, also guilty of. So, central issue, we have Ansu's reversed. Ansu's is the rune of communication and manifestation. Reversed in the central issue, we are dealing with situations where you are mishearing, you are miscommunicating, there's misunderstandings. Maybe there's like lack of communication happening. So just, it's difficult. Leading up to this, it's one of those situations, as I said, you know, we were so happy up until this point. We have Bunyo, which is the rune of joy. Everything was going fine, and then all of a sudden this happened, and then we all went off and just ruminated on it and said, you know, does that mean this, or maybe this means that, and I'm just pretty sure that everybody hates me now, and off we go. Off we go with the overthinking. Not helping anybody. So what is going to help at this point? We have Yira, which is the rune of the harvest, and also time. So the first thing that jumps into my head is give it time. Let's not jump to the conclusions. Look at what you are bringing, like look at what has been brought through. Like look at the fruits of your labors of what you've actually already had. Okay, I am going to read like fruits of your labors is like, what is all this worrying doing? The worrying is doing nothing. All the worrying is doing is bringing more worry. So looking at that is going to help and go, okay, well, clearly that's not helping. There is see it as a season of time in which this is going on. It's just like right now this is happening. But also just like look at what good there is. Like look at the sense of abundance that you have around you. I do actually want to throw one on top on the bottom on this line as well, just to clarify this line. Yeah, and if there is something that needs to be addressed immediately, do that. Once you look at the situation and see if there's something that needs to be addressed immediately, then just like make that move. This is now thieves reversed. It's generally emergencies. But just basically have a good look at what is coming through, like what is actually coming through, not what you're overthinking is coming through, but what is actually coming through. And if you're worried that somebody's mad at you and they're just like, they're not, and if you say like, are you mad at me? And they say no, let that be your truth for a bit. Like, let's just let that be. And if there is something that needs to be addressed, address it, because that, the time is of the essence. What isn't going to help is we have Othello reversed. Don't give up on your home situation and then carry on with that. So it's like, don't give up on, don't think you have to drop everything that is associated with this situation and just like drop it on the floor and run. Like, you don't have to do that. That is not the situation. You are more supported than you think, and we'll get to that. But there is like these conclusions that it's like, I'm happy, then suddenly a slight unhappiness happens. There's like a misunderstanding. And the worst thing you can do at that point is just to say, okay, I'm running away forever. and just go with that. Like, this is my life now. It's like, no, give it time. This is like a little bit of weather that is like a little bit of a season of time where we are uncomfortable about something. We're sort of ruminating about it. But ultimately just see that and recognize that if there is something that needs to be addressed, face that, deal with that, like make that call, do that text and say, hey, I said this the other day, are you okay? Or you said this and I'm not sure if that's what you meant and I just want to clarify. But that's like taking that action. And if they say fine, then it's like, okay, let it be. Like you over worrying and overthinking doesn't make you more dedicated. It makes you dedicated to worry is what it does. This reading could be for me. So your next step on the path line and the center of the entire reading is the blank rune. And this is basically what I was saying is like, if that's this, just let it be. Like, you don't know what you don't know. So let's just be open and just let ourselves sit in that openness of not knowing. And if, whatever the divine is for you, this is also a good call to connect with that. So just nature or higher self or whatever it is that you consider the divine, that's what the blank rune tends to refer to, as well as just being open and not knowing. What is going to help you is that you are very strong and you are able to stand up in the face of things. So just basically, lean on that strength. Let yourself be strong and be solid. And, it may be all the little swords are flying around your head while you're trying to sleep, but just like, what, I'm here, I'm sleeping, I'm going to be open to what's happening. And I made the steps that I needed to take. So now I'm just going to be open and see what the day will bring. What isn't going to help is still seeing it as the challenge. Still seeing this, like we've heard this, like, okay, you know what, I'm just going to, if there is anything, I have to trust that it's going to come to me and I will be able to address it directly because I've made it clear that that's what I want to do. So seeing this all still as this challenge that you have to juggle arrows for, that's not going to help you because right now we've already moved forward from that. So bring yourself back up to, it's like, know what? I'm strong, I'm solid, I'm going to stand in the face of this. And even if it feels like a storm, I'm going to stand in the face of this because I don't know. And I'm going to be open to what comes. And whatever the divine is for me, I'm going to sort of put my basket of problems in those hands and let that be because I've done what I can do. Your next step on the path line, which is why I know this is going to have a happy ending after all this blows over, is we have Algi's upright. Algi's is rune of protection and support. It's the elk or the moose, depending on what continent you are in. It is the same animal, so it's the moose. And you are supported, and you're going to see that you are supported. And as when you give it this amount of time where you're like, okay, I'm just going to accept that I just don't know, and give my problems to whatever the divine is for me while I just stand and be. By the end of that, you're going to be like, you know what? I am supported. I do have the support that I need. I don't have to worry about things. And I'm just feeling that support a lot more after that point. It's like things are not as at odds as we worry they are. What is going to help you at that point is two things. We have Tivaz reversed. Tivaz is Tyr's rune. Tyr is the warrior god. So first of all, laying down your sword, let's choose peace for the most part. Let's just assume, if we're going to assume anything, that nobody wants fights, nobody wants disagreements and misunderstandings. Everybody wants peace. So just let's choose peace, lay our sword down. The other thing this means is look inward and take care of what you need to take care of inwardly for your inner needs, because that's also Tyr is taking care of what needs to be taken care of. That's going to help you at that stage. What isn't going to help you at that stage is just this feeling like things are going to fly out of control again. Things are going to get overwhelming again. We have Dagaz, which is the rune of the breaking of the day. It's in the lower line, a very positive rune in a negative spot. So that's a worry about that thing. I mean, all of our worries are like, I'm just going to... Actually, this one wasn't a worry. This was a warning. Like, don't just drop everything and run. But the next ones are like, I'm worried about it being a challenge and I'm going to treat it like a challenge. Don't do that. That's not going to help. This is definitely a worry that things are going to just fly out of control again and be like out of your ability to stand it. It's like, bring yourself back up to, it's like, you know what? I'm choosing peace. I'm choosing peace, and I'm going to take care of my inner needs myself, because I have a lot of support outwardly and things are good. Your next step and the outcome of this reading is Kaunaz reversed. Kaunaz is the rune of the torch or the fire. When it's upright, it's expansion. When it's reversed, it's honing focus. So really not going to... I mean, I'm coming back to the tarot version of this, which is the regular tarot version of this, which is all the little swords flying around the person's head while they're trying to sleep. All the little anxieties. And it's almost like you're going to put blinders on to a lot of those, because... I mean, you may have to do a little exercise for that first, like write down what all of the little swords' names are, and then see which ones you actually don't have to worry about. And it's like, this is something that's out of my control, and it's something that I have preparation for so I'm not going to worry about that because that's in place. So all the things that are like that, just like, okay, these are all my little flying swords, but these are the ones that I don't have to worry about at all. These are the ones I don't have control over, but I've already got things in place to deal with if I do have to face them. But if I don't, then I'm not going to think about them because things are in place. And finally, you're going to have the few things that you need to focus on. This is when you're going to focus on those. It's like, okay, these are some things I need to deal with. Let's deal with them. And that, card number 3, people, is your reading about misunderstandings, miscommunications, and all the crazy energies flying around. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish me all the best with this, and everyone all the best with this, because the energies are crazy right now, and we just have to ride it out. I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, card number 4, people. So let's turn this right away and get some help on all the trouble we're having with Hooded Man. So that's the Hermit. I'm pretty sure it's the Hermit. I'm like 99% sure that's the Hermit. 9, the Hermit. Yes, I'm a runes girl. You know, I'm still a little bit wobbly with my tarot memorization for the numbers. So anyway, Hermit. I mean, I don't blame you because I'm that also. So in terms of the just wanting to seclude and just like get away from things. And you know, when you do that, when one does that, it becomes easy to forget that there's a real dance when you're dealing with other people, and that communication is tricky, and that it doesn't take much for there to be a misunderstanding or for there to be a miscommunication. And one can be very tempted to just like say, heck with all of it and move into a cave. And even though if the cave has a really nice door like that one, that's a really nice door for the cave. Anyway, let's get some runes down to clarify. Card number 4, people. Okay, yes, choose peace. In fact, this might be actually not a warning against being a hermit. Oh, no, it is. Okay. I was about to say, because maybe this is like, do it, because we need to survive this next little while. But what's helping you is getting out there. So I'm wrong, but that's okay. And it may also not also be it may be just like have a way to retreat as well. So anyway, what's our final rune in this spread? Oh, it's in my hand already. Good. Beautiful. Okay. Your central issue card number 4, people, is Tivaz reversed. Tivaz is Tears rune. Tears, the warrior god. Checking a thing. Tears, the warrior god, and contrary to popular belief, he doesn't have to do with. He's not Aries. He's basically. He's about balance. He's about being a good king, as far as maintaining balance, and he's about taking care of things that need to be taken care of. So. Reversed, I'm going to read this a couple ways. First of all, choose peace. You really want to choose peace. You're really focusing on, like, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. I don't want to be a part of the fights. And this is because, leading up to this, we've had absolute chaos, but which I'm going to get to in a minute. It also, Tivaz reversed also has to do with tending to your own personal needs, your inner needs. So things that are inside you, taking care of that. The issue, like the things that are the things that you need inwardly, you're going to turn inward and deal with those. You're going to take care of that. And sometimes, like, nobody else is going to do that for you. You have to do that. In fact, ultimately, you have to do that. Leading up to this, we have Hagalaz, which is the rune of the hailstorm. This has to do with chaos, things that are out of your control, weather in terms of things that blow in that are out of anybody's control and just make things crazy for a bit. And that's where you're coming from. And I don't blame you for being the hermit or the hooded man in this case. You have a little bird. You have a little wreath on your door. Look at those robes, though. Like, where can I get those? They're so nice, like these holly patterned robes. Anyway, what is going to help you at this point where you are really wanting to not fight and also be needing to help yourself inwardly? Weirdly, it says get out there. But get out there into where you feel a sense of belonging. We have Manaz, which is the rune of the humanity and your part in it. So it's not like your place, but it's like your part in it, where you feel you belong. So contact and connect with the people who can face you with joy when you have joy, that you can see that joy reflected, but also just be among the people that give you joy and that help you feel like you belong. That's the people that you need to connect with. Like the chaos out there, like leave that where it is. But if you are turning inward, don't turn inward to the point where you're shutting everybody out, because there are people who really love you and care about you and who you really love and care about. And so definitely, make the exception for those people. Those people are allowed to visit your cave. What isn't going to help? So we have Pertho. Pertho's the rune of the lot box. This has to do with surprises and fate. You're just worried about what's going to, any new surprises, because this has been just like this endless whirl of surprises and icy little rocks hitting you in the face, and that's not fun. And so you're sort of like worried about what is going to come next. Everything's out there, but it's just like, what of it that I'm not going to expect is going to hit me in the face, and it's going to be a problem. So that's why you're not going out there. You're going out there, but sort of in a contained way, where you're actually going to be just connecting with the people that you love and trust, the people who make you feel like you belong, because all of this is just crazy. So if you're worried about, the nasty surprises, and it is not even necessarily nasty surprises because it's upright, but you're just worried about something that you're not expecting hitting you in the face. So bring yourself back up to those you love and trust. Hopefully this will give you some buffering and comforting, and hopefully you'll all be giving each other buffering and comforting, because goodness knows we all need it nowadays. Your central issue, not central issue, this is your central issue, is Tivaz reversed. The center of your whole reading and what is pinning it, your next step on the path line, we have Ansu's reversed. Now, Ansu's reversed definitely has the read of miscommunications, which is what you've been dealing with. So one read of this is deal with those miscommunications and misunderstandings, like face them, take them on and address them. Itemize them if you have to. Make a list and say, okay, when you said this, can I get a little bit of clarity on this? I'm not attacking you. I'm not accusing you of anything, but I'm really, because for me, I interpreted it a little bit like this, and I'm thinking because you love me and we love each other, that's probably not what you meant. That kind of thing. Or when I said this, I think you took it this way, and let me try to explain to you what I meant with it. So, I mean, if things are still like uncomfortable about it, then you're probably going to get some resistance from it. But the other thing, thankfully, that answers reversed means is silence and listening. So make sure that when you're addressing these, listening is going to be absolutely key. And if nobody else is doing it, be the one who does it, you know? I know it's going to feel, you might feel a little resentful about that, but somebody's got to start, you know, and if it's going to be you, then it's going to be you. And again, as I've said in every reading so far in this session, if you are in an abusive situation, do not be here. Be somewhere that's going to help you get out of that, because that's basically what you have to do. But if this is just like people who love each other, people who care about each other and trust each other and are not being abusive, this is where you just want to address this. Like, make sure that you are being honest and open and listening and addressing things, because nobody wants to fight. What is going to help you in this moment where you're addressing these things and where you are listening, like really, really, truly listening, is we have Isa. Isa is the rune of ice, which is standstill and the stillness through which clarity comes. So while you're listening, give it stillness, give it silence, give it that stillness so that the clarity can come through. I'm also going to bring in the Elder Futhark read on the ice rune, which is a bridge, because we're building a bridge. We're giving ourselves something that we can stand on and that's going to help each other. So the stillness is going to help each other. Listening is going to help each other. It's going to build a bridge. So that's what's going to help you the most. What isn't going to help? We have algae, which is the rune of the moose. And this has to do with protection and support. It's upright in the lower line. Very positive rune in the lower line. So this is a worry about that thing. You are worried about what support you are getting. And this is the sort of thing I was saying. It's like, yes, you want everybody to say, okay, we're all going to get together and all agree to sit and listen and very calmly discuss the misunderstandings and get through this. There is going to be, sometimes not everybody's going to be on the same page with that when we start. So there may be a bit of resentment. It's like, I wish I had more support in this, but if you let that take over, then that's going to lead to resentment, which is going to make it very difficult to listen and to be still for each other and give each other that space so that the clarity can come through. So try not to let that be what you fall into. Bring yourself back up to where I am listening. I'm going to calmly bring forward and discuss these misunderstandings, and to be still and let the clarity come through while listening. Your next step on the path line, we have Avaz reversed. Avaz is the horse. This has to do with movement and spirit. You're not going to run yourself ragged. You're not. It is like you now are in a situation, once you've addressed this, you're going to be in a situation where you're going to be like, okay, I don't feel like I'm running around like a spooked horsey anymore, and I'm letting my inner spirit carry me, but I am not going to just jump to conclusions. I'm not going to run around and around. I'm just going to basically lie down and be a good horsey on my back, not running myself ragged. So that's where we're going to be after that point. What is going to help you with that is the fact that you are addressing the emergencies. You are taking these on. You are taking care of the things that need to be taken care of at that point. Because once you've had this part of the discussion, you're going to know what needs to be done, and you're going to know what's going to need to be done immediately. Drop everything and do it. So we have Amethyst is reversed. Amethyst is the rune of need. It always means tend your needs, but when it's reversed, it means drop everything and tend your needs. So it's definitely like, whatever we got from this discussion, there are going to be immediate to-dos on your to-do list. Those triage to-dos, do those immediately. And that's what's going to help you not have to feel like you have to run around crazy. You're going to feel like, okay, taking care of this right now. And we do, and we take care of it, and things are better, and you don't feel like you have to run around. What isn't going to help is we have Fehu, which is the rune of wealth and worth. There's going to be some worries about worth. There's going to be worries about, self-worth, self-esteem. It's like, people's pride are going to take a hit from some of this. Like some people, everybody's got their ego going on, and everybody thinks they're doing the right thing until they realize they haven't been. And so it's hard. Like all of this is tricky. Like I said this on an earlier reading in this session. It's like everything's tricky right now. Everything. Everybody's going through it. It's so hard right now. Like obviously, again, if there's abuse going on, this is a choice. Everybody has hard days. Most people don't choose to then be abusive because of it. So let's not allow that. But in situations where everybody's going through it, everybody's just like, ugh, things are very difficult. Everybody's sort of sensitive, ego kind of thing happening, because everybody's doing their best. Like, everybody really is. Don't argue with me on this. Everybody's doing their best in the moment. Like Mr. Rogers says, like, your best today may not be the best you've ever done, but it's the best you can do today, and that's important. That's all we can really expect. So it's hard right now. Like, it's really hard. So it's time to just lay down that for a bit and say, this discussion, there are things that we need to address and there are things that we need to do right away. And so do them. And it doesn't make you less strong to concede that you were in the wrong. It doesn't make you less strong to apologize. It, in fact, makes you more strong, because that's really hard to do. So, if you're worried about worth, bring yourself back up to, like, once I take care of this thing that I needed to take care of, that's what's going to solve that. That's what's going to make me feel better. And then I won't feel like frantic and that I need to run around. Ultimately, this is all going to lead us to a really good situation. We have Gabo, which is the rune of the gift. The gift is always an exchange. So it's agreements, decisions, plans, and goals, and one-on-one interactions where there's an equal exchange of energy. That's what we're going for. That's what we're going to. We may need to set goals. We may need to make plans and have agreements and make decisions that are going to be something that we all need to sit down and do. Or at least in a one-on-one situation, we need to sit down and do and make. But we will, because that's on the path line and that's what we're leading to. And things are going to be much better and better as long as we have that exchange happening. So that is your reading for miscommunications and misunderstandings and all the crazy energies that are flying around right now, and how to get through them, because we just need to do that. We need to just ride it out, because it's not, just like Hagalaz reminds us, this is some crazy weather we're going through, and weather is not ever permanent. Nothing is, like, you don't have a hailstorm that lasts forever unless you're on some of those planets that have that, which is another story entirely. But in general, storms do not last by their very nature. So we are going through a big storm right now, just energetically in the world. There's a lot going on, and it's all very frightening. Okay, a lot of it is very frightening. There's good stuff, but the frightening stuff is loud. So let's just do the best we can and get through it. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish all of us all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye.